What is going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. Oh man, I have got something interesting to talk about when it comes to the CGC 99 pre-screen talk and everything like that. So there was recently a video that was put out by Comic Tom, and he was talking about the 99s for Wolverine, the limited series #1. And I had been thinking about making something about this, and when I saw that out there, I was like, all right, I got to make this video. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm trying not to make outrage video because I know there's going to be some outrage on this one, but let's get into this. Right. So before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So there was recently a video put out by Comic Tom and Gem Mint where they were talking about the hot 10 for the week. And one of the books they talked about was the Wolverine limited series #1, how it's doing pretty well right now. A lot of sales, obviously, because of the Wolverine Deadpool movie. But one of the things they were talking about on there was the census. And there was something related to this that it's seen recently. I've been talking in some chats about it, and when I saw that out there, I was like, I got to make this video. I got to talk about this because, I mean, this is the type of thing that should be worrying you if you are into books like 9.9s. I do think it probably isn't going to have much of an impact on the 9.8 prices, maybe a little bit, especially when there are no 9.9s existing at the time. But books where there are 9.9s out there or 10s that go for big premiums, this is the type of thing that you should you should pay attention to this. So let's get into this. All right. So where this all starts is with the Comic Connect auction. So we all know this is where we had the Giant Size X-Men 199, but there's another book in here that's very interesting, and it's this one right here. So this is the Wolverine limited series #1. There was recently a picture with Vincent Cerzolo where he was showing, this book that they had just gotten back, and, a newly minted Wolverine limited series #1 in a 10.0, Gem Mint 10. And there were only 3 prior to this. Now there are 4. So if we go over to GPA and we take a look at what a 10 sells for, the last 10 sold 14 years ago for $14,000. And given that a 9.9 recently sold for $15,600, that 10 is going to go for a lot more. I don't know what that book is going to go for. Usually when you've got a 9.8 to a 9.9, your multiple tends to be something like 20x. And since, even though this last sale on a 9.8 was $468, it'd been going around $650. And so that gets you up to a 13,000. It's close enough, close enough for these rules of thumb where you're just trying to roughly estimate what a book will go for. Going up to the 10.0, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's like $100,000 book now, but maybe it's like 50, but I honestly don't know. I don't know what this book will go for. If we take a look at the 9.9s, let's see if one sold back around 2010. One in 2010 sold for around 1,700. So that's about 7 times more. So, I mean, maybe it'll get close to 100, 80 to 90,000 possible. But the thing that you should be thinking about with this is the census count. How stable is that super high end census count right now? And this is one of the things that was talked about on Comic Tom. And so if we go to the census, you can see here the census right now for Wolverine limited series #1, 4 10.0s and 38 9.8s. Now the interesting thing, going up 25%, from 3, or actually 33% from 3 to 4 for the 10.0s is interesting. The more interesting thing is how the 9.9 numbers changed. They went up a lot. And the place that makes it easy to see this, I talked about this on that Dave Stevens video, and it was with the CGC data site. So if you go to CGC data, this site where they pull in all the CGC data and you can see the census counts over time, you can compare what the census was at different periods of time for specific books. And so it tells you how that census is changing over time, how many of these copies are out there. So right now what I have in here is the current census. So Wolverine #1, 1982, May 21st, 2024. That's the last time that this was updated on here. We have 4 10-0s, 38 9-9s. Exactly the same thing that we see here on the CGC census. So what happened recently? Now, what we have to do is you can put in a prior date and you can compare how the census changed. So we're going to go to April 30th. So April 30th, we do a search, and then this will update and give us what the change was between April 30th and this most recent census date. And it always takes a little bit for this thing to process because it's got a lot of numbers that it has to go through. But ultimately, it will give us what that difference is between those two dates. All right, so now we're updated. Look at this. 10 new 9.9s. 10 of them. This went from 28 9-9s to 38. And if you don't think those 9-9s are going to get rolled out one after another, like guaranteed, whoever got them, and we'll get into that a little bit, whoever got them, they're going to probably try to play it smart. They don't want to dump them all at once. You dump them all at once, you're just going to tank the value in the 9-9s. But even if you have one coming out each month or every couple months or something, this will impact the market for this book. And this is the type of thing that you should be concerned about if you are purchasing high dollar 9-9s. I mean, 10 of them in under a month that got added to the 9-9. That is crazy. So now the other thing I want to get into with this is I know where 3 of them are at least. So if we go over to the CGC website where you can look up the details on the books, we can look up the cert number for the 10-0. So the cert number goes 43975070024. You can see that's the same cert number right here. I don't know if you can see it that clear, but there you go. You can see that is this cert number that I've typed in here. So what you can do is this number here is all part of the same submission. It's all these numbers are the same, and then it counts up from 001 to as many books as you have in up to 25 for that group of books. And so this one goes up to 25. The interesting thing with this one is that every single book in this submission was a Wolverine limited series #1. And this is what I was talking about with the 9-9s and the 10s. It is not grading the book as a 10 or grading the book as a 9-9 or at that high end. It's grading the book in comparison. That is what it looks like CGC is doing right now. It's comparative grading. And that is what we saw in their example video that they did when they put it up on their site, where they were showing that modern book and just comparing the books to one another and going like, oh, these look better than these. These are the 9-9s. These are the 10s, that kind of thing. That's what people are doing now with their submissions. You may not have a 9-9 pre-screen, but this is effectively a 9-9 pre-screen. What people are doing is my guess, they're either getting a bunch of super high grade copies, or maybe even they're getting a bunch of 9-8s, cracking them out, and then sending them all together in a single submission. So that then you'll have all these books next to each other, and comparatively, some of them are better than others. So if we go and look at, and just to prove I'm not just like making this up, if we look at #1 in the submission, Wolverine limited series, #1, got a 9-8. #2, 9-8. #3, 9-8. Now, if you keep going up, if you check all of them, you'll find #12, 9-9. Then you'll find, we can go down to see the picture. There's the 9-9. It's that book. Then if we go to #16, 9-9. Then let's go check out #25, 9-9. So this submission with 25 Wolverine limited series #1s came back with 21 9-8s, 3 9-9s, and 1 10. I mean, it seems like this is what's going on. And I've talked about this with I was joking with like Mickey and Drew in a chat where I was like, for the books that don't have any 9.9s out there, like Amazing Spider-Man 129, X-Men 101, I would not be shocked if there are people out there that are trying to accumulate 25 plus whatever 9/8 of those books. They're going to crack them out and they are just going to send in 25 of them all at once. So then it's that comparative grading, and we are going to start getting some 9.9s, who knows, maybe even 10s of some of those books that never had them before. And other cases are going to be books that have a ton of 9/8, and it's very easy to come by 25 9/8. Like Secret Wars 8, there's thousands of 9/8 of that book, and it only costs you like $400 a piece. You could buy 25 of them for 10 grand. If one of them comes back a 9.9, you've already made your money back. So I mean, I think that there's a very good chance that this is the type of process that some people are going to go through now, because it's pretty clear. It seems like CGC is doing comparative grading for these really high grade books, these 9.9s and these 10s. And this was a 25 book limited Wolverine limited series #1 submission. And you got like 12% 9.9s, 4% 10s, and the rest 9.8s. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if this was, 25 of these books cracked out and just all sent in together, 25 9.8s. But going with that, kind of wanted to talk about what are some other books that might be at risk of this. So I already mentioned Secret Wars 8, that first symbiote, the classic Spider-Man cover. I mean, we can take a look at a 9.9 that just recently sold for $10,800. That was exactly where my point came from about you could pick up, these books. Like, here's that 9.9 sold for $10,800. You can go check out a 9.8 here. I mean, look, last sale $430, low $337. This book probably going around $425, $450 right now. You could get 25 of them pretty easily. I mean, look how many sell. Pretty easily. You could get 25, crack them all out, stack them together, send them off. Yeah, you might get some 9.6s back. That's a risk. But if you get that 199 or with that Wolverine limited series, 3 of them and a 10, I mean, that's a book that's $600 in a 9.8. $600 to $700 in a 9.8, and a 10 might break $100,000. You just spent 15 grand and you got back 3 9.9s, that are each 15 grand a piece, plus a 10 that's 100 grand or 80 grand, something like that. I mean, that's a pretty good business model to go after these books that have just a ton of 9.8s and just try to do comparative grading and get a 9.9 and 10 out of the submission. I mean, it is not a bad business model. I'll tell you that right now. It's tempting. It's one of those things that's pretty tempting to do, is just buy a whole bunch of 9.8s and just crack them all out and send them in together. I mean, you might lose some money a few times. You might get all 9.8s back. You just got to win once and you're pretty set. But this is one of them. So census for Secret Wars 8, you've got 5,810 9.8s, 23 9.9s, 4 10s. I mean, this is very similar to what we had with Wolverine #1. That one had 28 9.9s and 3 10s. This is set up exactly the same. 4,000 9.8s. This one has 5,000 9.8s. Secret Wars 8 is set up for that type of situation. And maybe I'm giving some people ideas. Who knows? I mean, but this is set up for that. Another one, Uncanny X-Men #266. Take a look at this is the first appearance of Gambit, or first full appearance, if you want to get angry about it, I guess. Let's see if I can find one of those pictures of a 9.9 on here. Man, no links to the 9.9s. All right, so we'll just show a 9.8 for this one, because I'm sure there's one here. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with X-Men 266, this is it. First cover appearance of Gambit, considered the first full appearance, even though, the annual is often, thrown out there. But this one, pretty similar. 3,789 9.8s, 15 9.9s. You can get a 9.8 of this book for 550 to 600 bucks. A 9.9 hasn't sold since 2015, so it's hard to say exactly what that would go for, but if it follows the 20x rule, probably a $10,000 book. You know, another one of those that you just get a few of them and you're doing really, really well. And if you get a 10, maybe that's a $50,000 or $60,000 book, especially, I mean, maybe more, given that there's no 10s on the census. If for a short period of time, you'll have that one. Because, I mean, once people start getting these 9.9s, I mean, they're going to sell them. And then if people might try to hold them back, but if more people do this and they start coming out, they're going to dump them, you know, and prices will be impacted. Like, something to consider. Just like, be nervous if you are a 9.9 and 10.0 purchaser. All right, then the last one I thought I'd talk about, Amazing Spider-Man 300. Most graded book on the census, or at least it was the last time I checked. 9.9 hasn't sold since 2017, sold for $13,500. 9.8 currently goes for $3,090. So 9.9 might be a $40,000 to $60,000 book. So let's take a look at the census. And we've got 10 9.9s right now, 1,598 9.8s. So not quite as many. This is definitely a little bit more expensive one to go after. You know, you're going to be spending about $2,800 to $3,200 a piece for those 9.8s. So if you had to get 25 of them, you know, that's like $75,000. I mean, that's a decent sum of money to put together, especially if you got to get them all graded. You want to probably repress them. I mean, you're going to have a lot of expense into this one, and it just depends what that 9.9 would go for. If it's 50 or 60,000, yeah, you know, might not be worth it for one of them. But if you catch that 10, if you get the 110, I mean, that's probably $150,000, $200,000 book, like the single highest graded copy of one of the most popular Spider-Man books of all time. That would, I mean, I could be even low on that. I mean, that could be a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 book, at least while it's the single highest. But that's an example of one where, again, you might have that happening with this book. Now, like I said, the other one's much more affordable. Like, and I could pull off picking up 25 copies of Wolverine Limited 1, Secret Wars 8, and trying to go for this. I mean, that wouldn't break the bank for me. And so there's lots of people out there that I'm sure could pull that off. The 75,000 is another story. that's a little steep. Probably not in my wheelhouse for that one. But yeah, I mean, I saw that thing from Comic Tom, and I was just like, I feel like I got to talk about this one, because when I went and checked this, and I found like the 3.99 sitting in here too, and those are not in this auction. So they came back, but they're not in this auction. You know, that's what I said. I think they're probably going to be slow rolled out, just so that they don't, you know, hopefully damage the market too as much, you know, or it's just going to slowly like step it down, is what will happen. Or maybe they sell privately, so there's no, you know, public record of the sale and that kind of thing. But I don't know. But yeah, comparative grading, it's a thing. It really appears to be a thing now. So be careful out there. Again, if you're dropping or even thinking of dropping huge money on one of these types of books, because I think the prices are just going to keep stepping down on them as they come out. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. I expect to see tons and tons of CGC hate comments in there. But that's what happens when you make these videos. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.